Transporting the food for us is kind of a main key ingredient to our business, and what's interesting is there's kind of a science that goes into it. For us, it's a long process. We start very early in the morning, sometimes as early as 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. We're cooking food, generally putting it into the transport boxes by 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, and we're not actually serving that food in a lot of cases until noon, 12:30, 12:45 in the later part of our lunch shift. So for us, it's very important that the food stays hot, stays to temperature, and it's important that we're choosing menu items that actually transport well. So it's not like a restaurant where you can turn around and cook something a la minute. You actually have to cook it with the intention of it staying hot for hours on end before it's actually served to the guest. After the kind of crash in the end of 2008, it was pretty clear that we needed to adapt or die, and weddings weren't the future for our business. So we really focused on corporate, recurring corporate catering, and focused primarily on the lunch services. Our average client is anywhere from 150 to 300 people in terms of our catering business, recurring lunch business. In our cafes, the customers have anywhere from 300 to about 1,000 employees. In our newest account that we're going to be bringing on just in a couple weeks, we'll actually have 1,600 employees on campus every day. And in our cafeterias, we generally service somewhere between 40 and 50% of the population actually eat in our cafe every single day. People get surprised by the quality of the food, and we've done some things on the other side, especially in the cafes, to support the equipment that we're using for transport by transferring from the transport equipment into steam tables and into having other vessels. Kind of going back and forth between those couple different holding methods has really helped maintain the quality of food. And I think our customers in general are actually very surprised the first time they've had something and they find out that it wasn't cooked within 20 minutes just right there on site. So that's a testament to both the equipment and kind of the techniques that we're using in the kitchen to make sure that that food fits those needs. I think our quality stems from a handful of different places. Everything from vendor relationships all the way to how we write our menus and how we build kind of what we put out. Our culture fits in where our chefs are engaged. They're not just cooking batch food off of a recipe. They have free reign. They have the ability to test and tweak and taste and do things. I mean, I've tried 4 different versions of honey walnut chicken in the last 3 weeks because we're trying to get it right and make sure that we can cook it in a large batch and send it out, because honey walnut chicken is a fried item that gets soggy and it's really hard to transport, and we're going to get it right before we send it out to our clients. So I think it's kind of a combination of culture and just belief in it's possible to actually take something that everybody else thought was not possible and do it. We try to do that every once in a while, and when we pull it off, it's generally really successful. I guess the last piece to that is just trusting that our team is going to make the right decisions, because it's impossible for one person nowadays to be the menu person. We have 10 or 12 people that really are involved in the menu, and that's multi-departmental. They're having meetings a couple times a month to give feedback and talk about the menu. And then the last piece, and this is tied completely to our culture, is that we really do eat our own food every single day at lunch. And so generally before the clients give feedback, we have our own feedback. Our employees have tasted the food, they've had the lunch here, and they tell us what they think. And generally that fits with what our customers are saying. So it's not uncommon for when we have a slight miss, the chicken was a little salty today. We know it before we get the email from the client, and that is a real competitive advantage for us. Timing is everything in our business, and at some point 5 minutes late, and we call it one of the catering deadly sins is being late. It's interesting where the Cambro products come into play for us in transport is that they're ready to load. They fit the size of the pan that we're using. They have kind of all the things figured out of what we're going to end up using the Cambro products for. That's already been done and designed. So all we have to do is open the box, put the food in, and close the box. And so at some point, that really helps us be on time and be prepared. The biggest challenge we have is on very busy days, do we have enough boxes in-house? That's always the challenge. And worst case, we make a phone call and we get some more boxes down here, and that's kind of how this works. We've made sure that our team is armed with the latest and the greatest, from GPS tracking in our trucks all the way through to just again, equipment that works, that's functional, that does what it needs to do. Cosmopolitan's culture is about our people. We did a marketing campaign a few years back that, of course, the food is delicious. It's our people that make the difference. At some point, you can't do what we do without just an army of people. We have a little over 165 employees at this point. And at the end of the day, they're the ones out there every day doing what we do. And we're only as good as our weakest person. So having a really strong team is very, very, very important to us.